friends. Funny meeting you here. I'm at the pumpkin patch with all these beautiful orange pumpkins, and I was just reading my superfood book and finding out all the great vitamins and minerals that a pumpkin has. So a pumpkin is filled with high fiber, they're low in calories, they've got a ton of vitamins C and E, they have potassium and magnesium, which makes them a superfood. We're going to be baking with different kinds of pumpkins, but I just wanted you to know that they shouldn't be used only from the pumpkin patch. You should use them all year long and incorporate them into as many foods as you can, because pumpkins are a superfood, and it's super fun to be at the pumpkin patch, guys. Wow, look at this perfect pumpkin. It'll make a great pie or a bread. Or I could open it up and roast the seeds. Oh, sounds delicious. Maybe I could bite it like a... Oh, no. Guys, look at all these pumpkins. How are we going to make all these pumpkin pies? Whew, a white pumpkin, a gourd, they're all superfoods. Come over here. Take a look at all of these guys too. All the different variations of gourds are all superfoods, and you can bake and eat all of them. Not only are they a beautiful fall decoration, but they're tasty as well. Hi, thanks for joining me. I hope you guys had fun at the pumpkin patch. It was such a beautiful day to be reading my superfoods book at the pumpkin patch. So I came home and I prepared my beautiful fiber-rich pumpkin from the pumpkins that I picked at the patch. If you didn't want to go through all the hassle of preparing those pumpkins and getting them all ready, you could also use canned pumpkin, which is what I'm going to do here for this loaf bread that we're about to make today. So we're going to make a pumpkin bread, and what I've already done is I've already started to soften 2/3 a cup of shortening, and in this case I've decided to use butter. You could use other things like Crisco or margarine, but I prefer to bake with butter. So I've got 2/3 a cup in my mixing bowl already, and I'm going to add to it the sugar. So I'm going to turn my KitchenAid mixer on. I'm going to slowly add the sugar. Mixing, I'm going to come over and prepare my loaf pans. Now, I've buttered and greased 2 loaf pans, and these loaf pans are perfect for baking loaf breads. You can do them in 2 loaf pans, you could use one larger one, or you could even use some mini loaf pans if you wanted to do something fun and exciting. So our loaf pans are already buttered. I buttered them with butter. Our sugar and our butter is here. I'm going to turn it off for a minute and scrape down my sides, which you always want to do. And you want to make sure it's all set. Now, you might notice that the pumpkin bread does have a large amount of sugar in it. And that's because pumpkin itself is not really that sweet of a food. Anytime you cook pumpkin, whether it be fresh pumpkin or a gourd or an acorn squash, you always want to add a little sugar to it because they're not always super sweet by nature. So this looks like it just needs another minute or 2 to get it going. All right, and I've prepared my flour mixture with cinnamon and ground cloves already mixed in. I have baking soda and I have baking powder. And once this is ready, I'm going to add the wet ingredients into my butter and my sugar. And my wet ingredients consist of 4 eggs, 16 ounces of pumpkin, it smells so good. You want to scrape every last piece of that good pumpkin in. And this recipe also calls for a little bit of water as well. And then you're really gonna get the fragrance of pumpkin bread once you add those ground cloves and once you add the ground cinnamon. That's really gonna smell like fall at our house. Put that right there. Okay, now we're gonna add our flour. The flour, the baking soda, the baking powder, and the spices are typically the last ingredient you add, with the exception of any chocolate chips or nuts, walnuts, pecans that you might add. I'm gonna make just a plain pumpkin bread, no nuts, no chips, no variations, just a plain pumpkin bread today. But if you at home wanna do it, feel free to add in anything like that. Walnuts go great with pumpkin bread, and so do mini chips. All right, let's add our flour mixture. And again, I've already added the flour, baking soda, baking powder, cinnamon, and ground cloves. Now, don't be fooled. I didn't measure into the liquid measuring cup. I used a dry measuring cup to measure into it. This is just to make it easier to pour in. So we're gonna give it a minute to set up. And remember, you don't wanna over mix because you don't want gluten to form. You want a nice soft pumpkin bread. All right, all those beautiful spices mixing together. I wish you could smell it. It smells delicious. Makes me think of pumpkins, Halloween, the great pumpkin Charlie Brown. One more scrape and I think we got it. Okay. All right, I've cleaned up just a little bit so that I can show you what this batter should look like. It should look like pumpkin, right? The color of pumpkin. And it smells great with the cloves and the cinnamon. So now I'm going to divide my batter in between two loaf pans that I've already buttered. So let's pour it in a little bit in this one. And you notice I'm using a rubber scraper. I do love a good scraper. This makes a lot of batter. Do the same thing like you did with your muffins and fill each loaf pan up about 2/3 of the way. You don't want them to spill over, but you don't want them to be uneven because you're going to put them in the oven at the same time. One good scrape and we're ready to bake. All right. Let's make that 2 good scrapes and we're ready to bake. All right, my oven is preheated at 350 degrees. These loaf breads are gonna take about an hour to bake. You should be able to smell the beautiful aromas throughout the house. It's better than a Yankee candle. All right, they're gonna go into the ovens and I'll let you know what they look like when they come out. In the meantime, enjoy fall. Hey guys, what's everybody doing?
Eating pumpkin bread.
You're eating pumpkin bread? Did you guys know it's a superfood? Is it super?
So super.
Super good. Woohoo! Super pumpkin bread. Awesome, guys. Enjoy. Maxwell? Hey there. How are you? It's nice to meet you at the pumpkin patch. Did you know all the health benefits of pumpkin? Do you incorporate pumpkin into your diet every day? You know it's filled with vitamin C. Do you care? It's good for you. It's healthy. Gives you strong bones and horns. Hey, do you want to know more about pumpkin? Hey, do you know we're filming an episode about pumpkins and all the great health benefits that pumpkin has and how it's a superfood? Do you want to know what our next episode is? Bacon.